On Wednesday, Donald Trump hosted the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and it was in the top, like, I think we're making a top 10 list, most embarrassing public meetings with heads of state. And, I do think the Vladdy ones are like up there. They're like the oldies, the goodies, the ones where he was like, don't spy on Americans, like, are you gonna, hold Russia accountable for any of the, election interference? Don't do it. That one was up there. And of course, early in the president, I mean, God, what are we, like 100, maybe, what was it, 50 days ago, a lifetime ago, the absolute shameful meeting with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and the have you even said thank you once from JD Vance, up there. But this meeting with the South African president, my God, number one, I just want to name how deeply embarrassing it is for the president of the United States to be echoing like 4chan, 8chan, 16chan, like Pepe meme, mass shooter vibes, conspiracy theories, using the phrase white genocide. And look, Elon might be saying that he's taking a step back from government. He's done with it. He doesn't want to invest anymore. But clearly the man has made his mark in many different ways, but sort of culturally, conspiratorially, this has got to take the cake. And it is so, like, nothing, I feel like someone's just shoving my face in the doo-doo that is this racist ass country when things like this happen. When a plane of 59 whites arrive from South Africa at a very time that we are deporting, 237 non-whites to a country they're not even friggin' from. And like, it's just such a deep, like, hello darkness, my old friend moment where you're like, yeah, no, we are a super racist country. We are being run by Pepe memes. We are from their blanket fort playing out all this white genocide stuff, like, and don't get it twisted. I'm assuming that a lot of the new hires that ICE is making, or the people they're deputizing, are probably former militia members. They were there on January 6th. Maybe they even got pardoned by Donald Trump. If they weren't rearrested for some other But this was absolutely insane. It involved Donald Trump showing the president of South Africa a bunch of unsubstantiated videos out of context. He's got a bunch of printouts. And so I want to take you through a few of these moments. But it opens with Donald Trump saying to the president of South Africa that what is happening right now in South Africa is a reverse apartheid. Now, mind you, all of this is, we're going to dig into what this is about. This is about, allegedly, in his mind, white farmers being killed by black South Africans. So white South Africans, Afrikaners being killed by black South Africans for their land, right? That's what he thinks the white genocide is. Obviously, set aside the irony of calling something like that a genocide in this time in Gaza.
A correct and a fair media exposes things, but we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say,
if this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. So what he's saying is, if black people were dying in Africa, it would be the biggest story. And we all know that whenever black people die in Africa, the media stops what it's doing and covers it wall to frickin' wall. Huh? Yeah? Anyone? Yeah. So he's saying immediate, calling it reverse racism. Here we go. So this is like the preface.
Apartheid, terrible. That was apartheid, terrible. The other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid.
I love this is the opposite of apartheid. Apartheid, terrible, but it was reported all the time. It actually really wasn't. It was sort of normalized until the students and civil society both, and the movements in South Africa and the movements here and internationally, demanded that it be a story. and that people not live as second-class citizens in their own homes.
What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it. All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, please.
I swear to God. Marco Rubio tells me, oh, so you believe, okay, so if we're to follow your logic, let's just put a pin in whether or not anything you're saying is real or happening. If we're to follow your logic that, I don't know, people are facing death in their home countries and they're afraid to live there, what would you call their attempt to seek refuge in the United States? Would that be something like asylum? Would you support the seeking of said asylum in the United States? Yes. Okay, but what about when Venezuelans do it? What about when Salvadorans do it? What about when people from South Sudan or Haiti do it? No? Oh, okay. So let's be clear. You believe in asylum for white people. That's right. If any whites are out there in the world and you want to move to this whole country that we got going on here, hey, it's Christmas morning for you. This is just, oh God, like I smell it. You can smell it, right? You smell it. That's just like, is the doggy doo-doo of this white supremacist colonial ass country that we live in, you know? Just trash, just a trash ass racist country that this president is now the leader of. Okay, so it gets pretty good. There's a long video here, so I want to take us through it. Donald Trump has like a whole slew of props, y'all. We're talking video, we're talking printouts. This is a real show and tell that clearly Elon Musk set up for him. He did not do any of this on his own, or Stephen Miller or whomever, right? There's a whole there's a choreo to the white genocide case that he's laying out here. And so here the President Ramaphosa is trying to sort of get a word in edgewise. He's first being asked by a reporter, what will it take to convince you there's not a white genocide? Because we've looked into it as journalists and we could not find evidence to what you're saying. And here's what he said.
What will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for President. But for him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be,
Our president will respond to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like the.
Okay, can't do that. Listening. I love how he's talking about him like a child. It will take him listening. Just listen. And I cannot.
Those who are here, when we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have
documentaries, just like Italy gave.
Somebody here to turn.
Where's Natalie? Natalie,
I can show you a couple
here we
of
go,
things.
Natalie. PowerPoint time.
It has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would.
Bring me the articles.
Turn the lights down.
Wait, is Natalie his printer hoe? Is that the woman who carries around like positive stories about him? Oh boy. Now this is the face of a man who realized he just stepped into a 4chan PowerPoint and he don't want to be here no more. He did not know that there was a whole litany of videos who were about to come at him.
turn the lights down.
Oh
and
boy.
just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
Turn the lights down, you guys.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one.
Here we go.
We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land.
So we'll explain who that is, but this is straight up a show and tell. He is turning down the lights, making everybody watch this, and it gets way worse. But before we do that, let's just get into exactly like sort of the details of who you just saw right there. Basically, members of parliament who represent small fringe groups, parties in South Africa who are like, yeah, we're going to take land and F the whites, which again, Cyril Ramaphosa has an amazing answer to, but here's a few standout moments.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers.
Okay, so he's showing aerial footage of a bunch of crosses lining a street, and he's saying that each one of those crosses, of which there are about 1,000, he's showing everybody, that they are the burial sites of a white farmer. And nothing could be farther from the truth. And so those are actually just their crosses commemorating two people who were killed. Vita Rafferty and Glenn Rafferty. They were displayed as part of a temporary processional. That's what the cars there are there for as well. Again, Google Images. I think this was like a few years ago, because in 2023 they weren't there. So he's saying, no, those are literally the dead people. That's how many dead farmers there are. This is a genocide. I mean, this is Kilmar Abrego Garcia had MS-13 written on his knuckles level. Old man doesn't understand video he's watching or thing he's looking at.
The family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving. They're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
Okay, and then this is great because then Cyril goes, wait, hang on, where is this?
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
He says, I have never seen it.
But, okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa, that's where.
I would like to know where that is. I mean, no, but I mean, it's in South Africa. And this is the face of a man who's like, this bitch do not know that South Africa, just like the United States, is comprised of many different cities and towns and counties. This bitch don't care where it is. It was in near Normandian, South Africa. It was 2020 was the year that took place. So he doesn't care. No, South Africa, this dude's looking. Now, when I said it was a prop, there's a show here, is a show and tell. There definitely is. So Donald Trump is going to now take us through the printouts of headlines that he has about the death of the whites.
Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people.
Death of people.
Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that
Pick anyone.
Death. I don't know. Death. More death. Who knows? Did I read it? Not going to. Just death.
White South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all I mean, I'll give these to you.
No, I'd like
So
to-
when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Just look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial.
He was told by somebody, like, why don't you go and see for yourself? Well, I could do that, but I would actually, here's what's better than me actually trying to go on the ground and sort of prove whether or not there's a white genocide. I just would like to show you some printouts that Stephen Miller just printed out the other day and paperclip very nicely that sort of have the word death in them, and South African and white, not necessarily in that order, but in some order. And, yeah, some of that death was maybe there was a domestic violence dispute. In fact, someone just got stampeded by, a herd of wildebeest, but it's still a white person who died in South Africa. And so who is to blame? But the blacks, that is probably what is going on here. And that's what I'm going to say is going on here. That is far more interesting to me. And my favorite, okay, so before we get into the politicians and what their responses, there is death in South Africa, and it has affected the farm community. The country has one of the highest murder rates in the world. This is BBC fact-checking this. There were 26,232 murders last year, according to the South African Police Service figures. Of these, 44 were killings of people within the farming community. We're close. And of those, 8 were farmers. Yes. Okay, so that means the genocide is at least 8 people, which I think rises to the definition of genocide, not the mass starvation of an entire population in Gaza, but 8 farmers being killed absolutely rises the definition of genocide. Now, are those 8 farmers white? We don't know, but probably. I'm going to say yes for the purposes of me not wanting to do any research or actually ask any intel, even though I have the most robust intel community at my fingertips. I don't want to know anymore. Those figures are not broken down by race. However, there is a Transvaal Agricultural Union. So, hey, some counterfacts, which represents farmers, and they compile figures that offer an insight into the racial identity of victims. The TAU relies on media, social media posts, and reports from their members. Their figures last year show there were 23 white people killed in farm attacks and 9 black people. Okay. So a little bit of genocide going on, 23 over 9 black people. So far this year, TAU has recorded 3 white people and, damn it, 4 black people killed on South African farms. We don't know if they're farmers or whatnot, but if you're, they could probably up their numbers to retroactively justify what the president is saying out of his ass. The other thing that they showed were speeches, like I mentioned, from politicians of minority parties who were calling for violence, a song that they played of people singing "Kill the Boer," which is it's a controversial anti-apartheid song that critics say call for violence against white farmers. South African courts have characterized the song as hate speech, but recent judgments have ruled that it can be legally sung at rallies, as judges say it makes a political point and does not directly invoke violence. Trump said that those leading the singing were officials and that people were in office. One of the men leading the rally was Julius Malema, who had previously led the ruling ANC's youth wing. In 2012, he left the party and has never held an official government position. He now leads a party called Economic Freedom Fighters, which won 9.5% in last year's election, entering opposition against the new multi-party coalition. Again, a guy who sang a song now has a small minority party within the government, okay? And here's Cyril Ramaphosa trying to explain to him that just because there are minority parties in the country doesn't mean that they represent policy or that anything that they're calling for in a song, maybe kind of, sort of, if you interpret it in a certain way, is at all policy. And listen to the shade that Cyril Ramaphosa has for Donald Trump, because it's and all of us Americans, because it's kind of beautiful.
On March, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
But let me
and it was
clarify
terrible.
that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies. And in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy.
Like, I am not a patriot, obviously, by any stretch. But when, I mean, maybe we've always been this way, and we should always say South Africa, after apartheid fell, installed a far better government, more representational than the United States ever had, with two-party duopolies. But it is deeply embarrassing that not only is Trump being so virulently racist and bigoted and peddling all kinds of conspiracy theories, but that then we're being educated by the South African president about what a multi-party democracy looks like. See, we have a multi-party democracy, and so you can have different parties. It's not just blue and red, you know, and we have something called free speech, and you can say things as a party, as a citizen, in parliament even, and that doesn't mean that thing is necessarily going to be law. You know how you have your Marjorie Greens who say that the weather was changed by a cabal of Jewish Democrats? It's like that, you know? She's not actually going to do anything about that. She's going to actually say she wants to fight anti-Semitism. Like, oh, this is so painful. And he's trying to explain this. Just because this lawmaker said the thing, or you think he said a thing, doesn't mean what you think it means. Truly an abomination, truly disturbing, just so shameful. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.